Hey guys, so I thought I would bring you along today as I get ready. So this is me. I've had a cup of coffee, but I'm not ready for the day. So I thought, why not just bring you along as I do my hair, do my chores, and just enjoy being a homemaker and a stay-at-home mom. I hope you enjoy. So to start off, I'm just brushing my hair out and parting it. And then I'm going to take the front sides of my hair and twist them and secure them with a couple of bobby pins. Since I'm staying at home today and I'm not going out, I'm just doing a very simple updo so that I can just bake, do some crafting, and do my chores. After I get the front looking the way I want it to look and secured, I gently brush all of my hair to the back, and I'm just going to twist it and put it into a simple bun. Now you can either leave your hair down and braid it in the back. Sometimes I put mine up in a French twist with a clip, but today I chose a simple bun. And here I'm just securing it with as many bobby pins as I need so that it doesn't fall down. And there you have it, a simple updo for a day at home. Today I'm wearing a cotton shirt, and I'm going to pair it with my cotton linen overalls. Once I'm dressed for the day, I get the fire going and get the house nice and toasty warm before I start my chores. Here I am just straightening up my living room, opening up the curtains and letting the sunshine in. We live every moment in our living room and our kitchen area, so of course it's the one room of the house that gets the messiest. And so I just try to make sure that it's straightened up throughout the day. And as always, like I said before, having animals and kids in the house, vacuuming is a daily chore. It's a family tradition of ours to get the gingerbread house from Costco and decorate it. So my girls like to do that. But this year the icing was just a little runny. And so as you can see here, it's kind of a messy gingerbread house. But still, it was fun. It was spending time together and laughing. And dishes, as always. Dishes is a daily chore. And so here I am just loading the few dishes that were in the sink into the dishwasher. That way my kitchen counters look clean and my sink looks clean throughout the rest of the day. Now on to baking. Today I will be baking a fry bread, and I will actually be using my wood stove to bake this on. It's very simple. There's a lot of recipes online, and that's where I got mine. I can't remember exactly where I got it, but it's very simple. It just consists of 2 1/4 cups of flour, I think here I forgot my measuring spoons. Yep, there they are. Next, I'm going to do a teaspoon of salt. I use red Himalayan salt, but you can actually use any salt that you prefer. And then it calls for a teaspoon of sugar. And I believe it was a teaspoon of yeast. And I think that's what I'm using here, is a teaspoon. And then you just mix it all together. As you can see, I'm just using the measuring spoon to stir it up because I'm fancy like that. Next, I'm going to get my warm water. It calls for a cup of warm water. Then, after you get all the ingredients in the bowl, just incorporate it together until it's a dough consistency. As I was mixing mine up, I noticed that it just seemed to be a little sticky, and I knew that I was going to need to be able to kind of knead this into a dough ball so I can form a circular loaf. So here I'm just adding a little bit of flour at a time and continuing to mix it until the dough is at the consistency I want so that it doesn't stick to my fingers, and I can roll it out on my countertop and knead it for a little bit and form it into a round ball before placing it in my pan. Now I'm just putting a little bit of flour on the surface of my counter, and I just knead it just a couple of times and place it into my oiled cast iron skillet. So here I am just drizzling a little bit of olive oil, and I'm just going to spread it around with my fingertips until the whole pan is covered so that the dough does not stick to the pan. Once it's oiled, I place the dough in the pan. I cover it so that it can rise. The recipe calls to set a 30-minute timer and let it rise for 30 minutes. So I just set it on my stove and let it rise. While the dough is rising, let's talk about a very frugal and easy craft that anybody can do. These are just some cans that I have saved, and I like to turn them into candles, candle holders. You can use the larger cans and make pencil holders, but it's very simple. I just use some acrylic paint. I'm going to start with the white acrylic paint, and I like to usually paint a base coat on the can using the white acrylic paint first. Once I paint both cans all white, I set them to let them dry. And in the meantime, I have this old-fashioned vignettes book of images. I think that's how you pronounce it, vignettes. Could be wrong. But this is just vintage images. I don't know where I got this book exactly, but I love all the images in here. They're all antique, they're all vintage looking. And so I'm just going to be looking for some Christmas images so that I can cut those out and at the end place them on my cans. Once I have my images cut out, I like to go around the image and try to cut all the white off so it's just the exact outline of the image, so there's no border. So I missed the video where I actually set the skillet on the stove, but what you do is you just place your skillet covered on your hot surface. You can do this on a wood stove, you can do it on a gas stove, on a propane stove, it really doesn't matter. And you let it bake for 25 minutes covered. And then after 25 minutes, you remove the lid and then you flip the bread. And I'll show you that in a little bit. While the bread is still baking, I'm going to put my first coat of green paint that I chose on one of the cans. Sometimes these cans would take a couple of coats. You could even spray paint them if you wanted to, which might actually be quicker and faster. Here I am flipping that bread like I was telling you. It gets a nice golden brown and crunchy crust. After I let it cook for another 5 minutes, once it's flipped, I remove it from my hot stove and then I allow it to cool. Here's the bread cooling. Once you have your cans all painted and they're dried, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to get some Mod Podge and you're going to paint the back of your image with quite a bit amount of Mod Podge. And then just choose where you would like to place it on your can. Once you get it on your can, you really want to try to really smooth it out and smash it down, even allowing the image to go into the ridges on the can. So here I am just trying to smooth it out. I ended up cutting these little holly leaves out to add to this can. Once you get your images on the can and you like where they're at, you can get the Mod Podge again and paint over the entire can. And this will kind of not only seal the paint, but also seal the image on the can. I tried to use a little bit of the saran wrap to try to smooth the image down a little bit more. It didn't work out so well. I think maybe that might have worked before I actually painted over the image. And then once it's all painted, it's just time to let them dry. I don't do a lot of crafting, but sometimes I like to do a small, simple craft. Now, to go along with my bread, I decided to make a very simple potato soup. I am not a fancy cook. Actually, if I can just throw anything into my Instant Pot, then that's the way I like to cook things. So here I am just going to chop up an onion. This onion started to go a little bad, so I was just removing all the bad spots because I'm just trying to be frugal and I don't want to waste an entire onion because of a few bad spots. So after I chop up my onions into medium-sized pieces, not very small, I just toss them into the Instant Pot. And here I have my peeled potatoes, and so I'm just going to chop those up also. I'm going to add 1 can of green beans drained and 1 can of carrots drained. Like I said, you can use fresh ingredients, but I like simplicity. So here I am just dumping the rest of the ingredients in the pot. Going to add a little bit of the blend seasoning, which is basically garlic, pepper, and salt. And I'm also going to add a little bit of oregano. I wish I could tell you the measurements, but I don't measure things. Here I have about 4 cups of water that I'm going to dump into the pot. Actually, I'm just trying to make sure that the potatoes are just covered before I put my lid on. I give it a quick stir. And it looks like it needs a little bit more seasoning, so I'm just going to add a little bit more. I put my lid on and I place the vent to seal. And I'm going to do a manual high pressure for 15 minutes. Now out to do some chores. Here I am, just going to take those potato skins that I just peeled out to my chickens and ducks. They always love getting table scraps. And this is our horse, Joe Boy. We love having chickens and ducks. Not only do the ducks kill mosquitoes and other bugs on our property, and the chickens also, but during the spring and summer we get fresh eggs. I don't know if you've ever had fresh eggs, but if you haven't, they are the best.
Joe Boy.
Of course, the horse thinks that he can eat the potatoes too. Now, I have to keep the fire going, so we have to get some more wood to supply our wood box in the house. So here I am just gathering some more wood. I love having a wood stove. We actually had a pellet stove for 6 years, and this year we decided to switch it out for a wood stove. I grew up with a wood stove, but for simplicity we decided to put a pellet stove in when we moved into this house, but we decided we wanted to go back to a wood burning stove. One of the reasons why we went back to a wood burning stove is because a pellet stove needs electricity to run, and in a power outage you wouldn't be able to heat your house or even cook because you didn't have power. So a pellet stove just didn't suit us. So the wood stove it is. Here's my bread completely cooled. It's crusty on one side and a little crusty on the other. I'm just going to cut a few pieces off so I can show you what it looks like. This bread doesn't rise very big. It's more of a flat kind of bread, and it's very dense. And what I like to do is cut it into strips and almost make like a breadstick to dip in our soup. And it is absolutely delicious. The bread does not last long in our home. Once the timer is done on the Instant Pot, you just release the steam. And then I didn't film this part, I forgot actually, but I did take a potato masher and I mashed up the potatoes a little bit. Not completely, I just wanted some big chunks. And then I did add a little bit of milk. And here's the finished product. It's delicious. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and it was relaxing for you to watch a day in my life, and I hope you have a Merry Christmas.